This is a day in my life with the 15-inch M2 MacBook Air, and things got a little crazy. So the first thing I did was I woke up. I know, revolutionary information, someone wakes up to start their day, but after the usual washroom shenanigans and turning on my brain, I tend to get straight to work. Okay, that's a lie. I do sit and scroll for like 10 minutes. I'm not perfect, don't judge me. Anyways, I like to keep my mornings to tasks that involve a lot of brain power, creativity, and generally need me when my battery is at 100%. Speaking of batteries at 100%, today we're gonna be using and testing the MacBook Air. Now, I usually don't edit this early in the day, but if you ever heard the concept from Mark Twain, Eat the Frog, I think that it's so important, especially when you make your own schedule. And if you don't know, essentially what Eat the Frog means is just doing the hardest, the most difficult, and the most important thing that you have to do as the very first thing in the day. Now, Final Cut is notorious for destroying any of my computer's battery lives, and honestly, the MacBook Air wasn't an exception and my battery got eaten. But as for how the computer ran, it honestly just felt as fast as my MacBook Pro. I'm sure that if I was try hard about the numbers, I would see things be maybe a little bit slower, but for an Air, this was fine for me. It's fast and smooth, and after a couple hours, it's time for my meetings, so I quickly hop onto YouTube Studio to check out how things are going, check on my clients' numbers for the day, which are looking great, and clear out my email and any messages that I haven't responded to yet. A mental shift I took a little while back is that you get paid in proportion to the value that you provide. So doing little things like checking on numbers, even when I don't have to really, ensure that I'm doing my best to provide the most value that I can. But enough of that. It's 12 p.m. and it's time to hop onto our team call. We're strategizing some ideas for a new product that we're about to launch, clearing up some ideas for client videos that we're going to be making very soon, and just ensuring that we're all on the same page. The camera on the MacBook Air is 1080p, which makes video calls like this crystal clear, and the mics also sound great. Now, after the meeting, my brain is completely gone. I think it has to do with the intellectual part of coming up with creative ideas and working through problems, but also combined with the social element of, talking to other people. So I take a few minutes and just watch a few videos while my brain comes back to life. Because the Air is so lightweight, but most importantly, that weight is distributed across such a big device, things like laying in my bed with the computer on top of me is actually really comfortable despite this computer being massive. It doesn't actually feel that way, which is great for when your brain is completely melting out the side of your head. And that large screen makes watching content so enjoyable. Can't go wrong with it. But of course, I can't just lay here and be a brokey all day, and the best way that I've found to really break up my day is by going to the gym earlier in the afternoon. So I pack my things and head to the gym. Like I said in my first impressions, the Air is so slim that fitting it in my bag is not a problem. And because of that weight distribution, it doesn't actually feel as heavy as it really is. But now it's time to get in a real workout. Now, I'd usually head right back home, but because I've got another meeting coming up, I decided to head to our business building and see if we could get some work done there. But of course, the one day that I decide to record a day in the life, not only is it completely pouring rain, but there's some hackathon happening at our school, so we've got to find another place to work. Great. Compared to my Pro, traveling with the Air feels so much lighter. And you know what the crazy part is? It's only 0.2 pounds lighter. Like I said before, that weight distribution really goes a long way, and taking this all over the campus with me is not a problem. I had to rush and look for another spot on our main campus, and by the time that it was time to get back to work, we had about 50% battery remaining. At this time is when I start to get some work done for my business. At the moment, I'm building out some copy, organizing the new product structure, and getting ready to launch with my team in the next few days. I've spent a lot of time talking with really successful business owners, and if there's anything I took away from it, it's that money loves speed, and to focus on the important things. Making my website a little bit prettier isn't going to get me closer to a sale. Setting more appointments and scheduling sales calls are what's going to. And this is just a hypothesis, but because that's the actual hard thing to do, because that's the thing that takes real work, real effort, that's why 99% of people just don't make it. At 4:30, I had my call, which was another test of the webcam on this computer. And honestly, it looks just as great as my MacBook Pro. Not that the bar was crazy high, but I mean, it's more than enough for Zoom calls like this, where having the basics are important. The 15-inch screen also means I can multitask really easily. So on top of that, I'm maximizing my meeting times. By 5, my meetings had finished, and I had some leftover administrative tasks that I had to take care of for my business. So I switched up my seating and got straight to work. Right now, I'm working on things like setting up some training in Notion, building out out my Google Sheets tracking of a bunch of data and pretty much boring stuff that I secretly find extremely fun. Doing this on the MacBook Air is insanely nice as the 15-inch screen is massive and gives me so much room to see and work with. Like in reality, it's not like an extra inch is actually that much bigger, but there's something nice about just having that little bit more space that gives you some sort of clarity when you're working. And for work like this, for your day-to-day tasks, this is absolutely no challenge for the M2 Air. The M1 chip was already insanely fast and efficient, and for light tasks like internet browsing and writing, the computer handles this like a champ and everything feels smooth and fast. After a while, I had one thing left to do for the day, and that was to actually work on some prep for some upcoming videos. See, I'm actually doing a little research to add to this video, and the thing that I love about the Air is just how much bigger that screen is. See, I'm coming from the 14-inch MacBook Pro, and like I said, that 1 inch really does go a long way. Multitasking with Chrome and Notion is that much easier when you've got that little extra screen real estate to work with. And while I'm working away on this video script, another thing that I'm really loving about this computer is how the keyboard feels. And honestly, this doesn't just go for this computer, you just can't go wrong with an Apple keyboard. Ignore the butterfly keyboard, we don't talk about that. We ignore that. By this point, it's 7 p.m. and I realized that I haven't actually eaten for the whole day, so I left to head back to the apartment. Now, usually the rest of my days are catching up on any work that I've missed, talking to friends, or being a degenerate on YouTube for hours on end. But in terms of work, that just about wraps it up. As for the battery life, despite the screen being bigger, this battery lasted me the entire day. And if you like this video, you'll definitely want to see a day in my life with the Google Pixel 7a. And be sure to subscribe.